I'm the voice. This is Divi Updates, episode 27. I'm thinking about building a house on a foundation of Bitcoin. How's it going, guys? How's it going, Rob Meeks?
Why not Divi?
Well, because Bitcoin has been so stable. It's 100 to 110,000. That's why.
Divi's been stable.
That's true. That's
too stable.
We're talking about current news right now, so we're talking about this moment. Anyway,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so
right.
Bitcoin has awakened a little bit, right? It is still in that 100,000 to 110,000 bracket. I mean, it just touched a little bit above 110 yesterday. Yeah, we're recording on July 3rd, just to clarify. And it looks like it is waking up. We will see. What do you think, guys?
I think so. We've had a lot of news that's negative lately and positive, up and down. And so I think for the most part, it's been pretty stable. It's not that it hasn't bumped up and down a little bit. Like you said yesterday, it almost reached an all-time high again.
Yeah.
But it hasn't cratered. It didn't crater, especially over the things that happened in the Middle East.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
It did for a second, and then it went right back. I tell you, like for 4 days straight, I looked at it. It was 107. Every time I looked at it, I was like, "This thing's not moving at all." I know it was moving up and down in between. I just happened to catch the 4 days I looked at it. Each time it was 107. So that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's
So,
crazy.
It's interesting because usually when that happens is when the alts actually get a boost, right? But it's just not ready yet, right? It's not that time. But when you see the alt season, like everybody is calling for, you will see that often Bitcoin like goes up, comes a big back down, and then it looks like it's frozen in time. Is really impressive, and then all the focus is on the altcoins.
It's funny on that specific topic. I was just talking to a fund manager who's basically a Michael Saylor disciple, and so he's in France and he's creating a fund that invests in companies that invest in Bitcoin. So it's like a derivative, but he's got a little formula and he shows incredible returns and burpy burp. I guess in the Saylor circles, I might put a poll up in Twitter for this. In Saylor circles, we're about to hit escape velocity, meaning no more cycles of Bitcoin.
No more cycles.
Only up. All right. So that's that.
Right.
There's absolutely 100% a tribe of Bitcoiners that are say the past is cycles. That's over because of this, that, and the other. And then Michael Turpin just came out with a book called Bitcoin Supercycles, and it doubles down on the idea that the cycles of Bitcoin are predictable and you can invest against it. So really, you've got kind of like two competing viewpoints. Turpin's viewpoints enhance the idea that an altcoin season exists, because if Bitcoin's going up and down, then there's reasons to invest. If that's predictable, there's reasons to invest in altcoins. Michael Saylor's group says not only are altcoins a different thing, they're over. And because it's all Bitcoin now, all the liquidity will be going into Bitcoin because it's going to be only up. I don't have an opinion on this. I'm not smart enough to. I don't have enough knowledge to pick a side.
Beyond the personal opinion, right? I think that one of the two actors you mentioned, one is a lot more incentivized to focus on Bitcoin only because that's what he sells, right?
Correct.
Like his whole business model of Saylor is about taking your money to buy Bitcoin. And so obviously it would be crazy to say otherwise, right? So I think that this plays in the balance, but obviously no one knows, right? Like
it's still
I think it's interesting because we've been hearing that for more than a year now, and then we've seen pretty exciting period when Trump got elected. And then starting January, something like that, all started to be a little bit more shaky. And we had like a very, very terrible period with the tariffs and also like heating up in Middle East. So it was not great, but it seems that now those didn't calm down. Trump still puts tariffs on people. While it's still a little bit calmer and it didn't go too far in the Middle East, that thing is not solved, but the market is really absorbing that a lot better.
Yeah.
And so that's really usually what happens when we get closer to the bull market. I think we talked about that in one of the videos, where is our news making the market? And I was arguing that I think is the opposite, right? Like the market timing with pick up the right news to push the direction that it had already anticipated. And so, yeah, I think that it is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think Saylor's point was that it never goes down. I think he says that what his point is that the cycles are over. And so those 70 to 80% drops that Bitcoin goes through on a cyclical basis, I think his point is those are over. Not that in month 7 it doesn't go down. I don't think that's what he means. I think he just means that the cycles are over and it's only up. Like if you're looking at the average over like 200 days, like that's only up. Or something like that. I think that's more what he means.
I understand that. But again, I think that is not really yet the time for that. We will see when the last part of the bull market in the normal cycle happens, and then we will see if it continues.
Yeah. I can tell you, it's very difficult for me to ahead. Like if it's only up, then Saylor's right. You should just put everything you possibly can into Bitcoin. Like if he's right, then that's what you should be doing. There's no doubt about that. But if he's not right, then from here to 200,000 or whatever it goes to, right? Then you're putting money when it's high. It's not such a great move. And that sort of crap always paralyzes me. Sorry?
Yeah, I think it's a huge bet in reality because we have like Bitcoin didn't start yesterday, right? So a lot of people have now strategies that are aligned with this 4-year cycle, right? And so when they will see red flags, they will act based on those strategies, right? Because it is a safeguard for them. So I don't know how the super cycle, like the no cycle could happen. Those strategy would have to be offset basically by newcomers. And that's, I think what Saylor argues, that big funds and all that will now be buying the dip. I think it remains to be seen.
But it's also,
I think it's crazy to be out, and I think it's crazy to be all out, and it's crazy to be all in.
Yes.
I think it's something you shouldn't miss.
Is some of this theory based upon, and I'm not going to say monopoly. I'm not going to say that at all, because you cannot monopolize the network. Otherwise, you'd have to try to buy everything, which would dynamically increase the price. But you have core groups that own, including MicroStrategy, many hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, Grayscale, BlackRock, the exchanges like Coinbase, right? Binance. I think Binance and Coinbase themselves together combined probably control 1 million Bitcoin. That's a lot. And is it because he's stating that not necessarily because of the desire, but also because if these entities hold it, they're not dumping it, it also provides some stability on the market? And some people will get angry with me, but I'm involved, or I have knowledge of other industries where some were monopolies and they kept things stable, not to control things, and other ones which are open. And we kind of see this in Bitcoin where there's big groups of people buying things. Is that his theory for the stability? Is that ownership the stability, including what you're talking about when it dips? Are they buying it and creating that stability?
So the thing is that if there are actors that
Yeah.
are planning to do that, their strategy would go against 17 years of Bitcoin cycles, right? So
Mhm.
while it could happen, it is an extremely risky strategy. So I don't expect this to happen at once. Maybe we will see like a reduction of the dip. It will not be as big next time, and then we slowly go down. But I think otherwise, for a complete disappearance of like 80% drop, right, or a 60% drop, I think we would need so many people that would take those risks of with really huge amount of funds that I doubt this can happen. I'm not saying it can't, but I just doubt it can happen like that.
I think we'd have to look at the market and see when the last, like, what was that exchange that just was last
FTX?
year or the year before? Yeah, no, somebody dumped. Remember, it was somebody in Asia and they had to dump something. I can't remember the exchange, and they dumped, and there was a dip in the market. It caused some suppression, and the Bitcoin price, tanked a little bit. That was like last year. We spoke about it on one of the updates. I just don't
Yeah, not
remember.
much.
Forgive my memory.
Oh, I think you were talking about the situation in Japan.
I think so. I think so. Where they
Yeah,
were dumping, and
yeah.
it did negatively impact. It's going to take somebody a lot bigger. It's going to take somebody like one of these big players to really push some sort of huge drop. I think, because who owns and holds that much? That's a scary statement to me. That they
Mhm.
own and hold so much, because if they decide to liquidate, it could massively impact some situation in the future. I think it's bad that we leave our coins on exchanges. I think it's bad that we have strategies on paper where we don't own our own Bitcoin. To further distribute it will also further, I think, sort of stabilize the price. And this way it's manipulated. It's a manufactured stability, is what I'm saying, as opposed to an organic stability.
Mhm.
So there are more funds appearing like micro strategies, but and I don't know about all of their policies, but Saylor did answer to that concern,
Mm-hmm.
and his answer was pretty clear. Basically, the holder of micro strategy shares do not hold Bitcoin. So
Correct.
there is no situation where MicroStrategy for their accounting has to sell Bitcoin. Like there is no situation like that. So that was at least good to know. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, I think that the market timing is really coming. I think we planned and we heard also you, Rob, during several events and all that. You heard that end of summer would probably be the right time, and I think it's aligning
Yeah.
for that. Right? We have also seen the Genius Act, that act that is supposed to regulate stable coins, that has passed
Yep.
first Congress and then Senate, and
Yeah.
now sorry, it's back to Congress, and that act will completely change the way stablecoin, like the place of stablecoin in the industry, right?
I think
Yep.
so. It's good for businesses personally, meaning that, like, banks. It's good for banks and entities in fintech. It gives a little bit better regulatory clarity. It defines who can issue stable coins. It defines, or at least it's working towards, how reserves are managed and how they're required. It puts up rules and guidelines for how things should be presented and what can happen if somebody is unethical about those kinds of things. So it's not a CBDC. It's in the middle, I think, in a way, of a CBDC. It is still a stable coin, but at least it's open for others to issue their own stable coins, as long as they, which are centralized anyway, so it doesn't really matter. it's centralization. There is potential of censorship. It is gated participation, but it gives those banks and subsidiaries and non-banks the ability to issue that, which makes it easier for us. The problem that I would ask, even though I think this is good for those entities, if I own a stable coin on one bank, can I send it to my other bank, or do they have their own stable coin? And do we not get in the situation of 14 different tethers? That's the thing I'm thinking. If I have to worry about what my bank is building its stable coin on, is it using a decentralized blockchain, or is it using a private blockchain? And is it Polygon, or is it ETH? Is it Cosmos? Is it Avalanche? Is it, it's like, I don't know. I think that's
I think the idea is that it's going to be like Coinbase, right? Like, well, although those are separating by chain, I think banks don't have to offer that part to the user. I think the offer to the user is just, I have 100 tether, and they'll deal with what chain it's on, because it's not once it's in the bank, it's not yours. I gotta tell you, with the Genius Act, the incarnation, as I understand it right now, is how government can be helpful in freeing up a coin and providing teeth for bad actors like this. That, like, in a perfect world, that's what the government is actually for.
Yeah.
I don't think I have zero trust that this won't end up being a CBDC. And the reason is, I think we saw it with social media. Where the government absolutely went into the platforms and said, "Hey, we want this information. Hey, don't promote these tweets." Like, completely affected how the social media was presented to the users. And I think, like, this part, the way it is right now, but then, like, either in this, I don't trust any administration, either this administration or the next, there will be another Genius Act that puts in monitoring clauses into the smart contracts, reporting clauses into the smart contracts, and then another one where they put in the ability to freeze the asset or remove the asset out of a wallet. Like I don't see anything positive about any of this, frankly. I think all of it it's pretty like when it comes in the front, because how can it not be? But then it's just going to be boiling frog. It's going to be, we're just adding this little thing because, we need to monitor where the funds go. And it's going to be this little thing because we want to stop terrorists from having USDT. Like, it's going to be this slow degradation. And then regulated stable coins are going to be indistinguishable from CBDCs.
Well,
yeah, I think it's the same kind of conversation we had on other regulation. It always has two sides, and I mean, one side is that obviously it gives clarities, guarantees that before they weren't having, right? So obviously that would be better for scam coins, but at the end of the day, it also centralizes completely the control, the authority over that. You were saying that they will be required to freeze. It is already in there. If the government asks for a freeze, like, they have to freeze it. So it's already there. There is obviously absolutely no mention of blockchain in all that, right? So
it excludes open source blockchains and decentralized stablecoins.
So in fact,
it's a negative.
We have already seen that many banks already mentioned that they will create their own stablecoin. And I think this will be what will happen, right? Like the fear that you just mentioned before.
Well, these
like,
are
I think
CBDCs.
it will happen.
No, then that's what these are.
It's not one central bank, though. It is many banks can issue many currencies, which is why I was stressing that if one region of the United States, all the banks get together and they issue their own, how does that affect another region? Or does everybody all have to agree that they accept one currency right now, or one protocol? Right now, it looks like it's open for anyone to issue their own. And if it's anyone can issue their own, are we not getting to the same situation the way we were 150 years ago, where we had banks who had their own currencies, and then
you guys just made me a complete opponent to the Genius Act, because if the only difference is it's not central bank and it's multi-bank, like, if that's the only difference, like, that's stupid. That's not the fear of CBDCs. The fear is not controlling your funds. That's why we don't like those. If it's multiple banks and it does the exact same thing, then all we've done is created CBDCs with a cloak over it that says it's multi-bank. That's the only difference.
I think that's the only thing we can read into this now.
So it's not necessarily banks, right? But I think it is exactly what you're saying, and this is also what some people are saying, right? That but the problem is, once you give the central authority to the government over stablecoin issuers, this is what happens, right?
Yeah.
Like those stablecoin issuers, they don't have, like, they need to be authorized to be a stablecoin issuer, right?
That's correct.
So now, because of that, it makes that the government decides who does it. And so I think that it is not CBDC with a central authority, but it's kind of distributed CBDC.
It is.
Right?
It is.
It's not the central authority. There is a central authority. It's just not a bank.
Exactly.
It's
exactly. It's over the banks.
The point to worry about whether it's central bank or not. Like, that is not the problem. The problem is the control. I hate you both, because now there's a blog post forming and I won't be able to think until this gets out of my head. Screw you both. Let's move on. Now I'm mad.
No, I'm just going to say, here's the question. Now I'm going to throw it in a different direction. What about a stable coin on Divi?
Why not? I mean, using the Divi ecosystem we have, except look, now we're going to get into these same problems, right? So that stable coin can't be issued by somebody in America. Right. So that stable coin is going to need an outside company. It's the same freaking problems we're going to have that we had with KuCoin, that we couldn't get Americans to be involved. So stable coin on Divi, great. It'll be in a side chain. You can move it. You can use it in other side chains. Like, that is fine. The person who issues it, will have to provide their reputation. I would say do that with audits, like you would normally do. Be transparent.
Mm-hmm. I think that's definitely something that can happen. Beyond what you say, Rob, about that person would have to build it in or out of US. I think that this is not something we will build, right? Like, we're not intending to build a stablecoin on Divi. We're not intending to do everything around Divi. However, Service Chain will offer that opportunity, right? So
correct.
If we are able to grow the ecosystem enough, then obviously there will be money to be made launching a stablecoin in the Divi ecosystem. And we can expect that someone will take that opportunity, right?
So that's the key thing, I think, when we think about side chains, and I'm glad you brought that up. When you're a coin holder or a community member, you're like, you're looking to somebody to build something, but that's not open source technology. What you should be looking at is open participation, as in what can be built on it, what freedoms do I have to build on it, and side chains are open participation, which means anyone can build on it. And the fact that we're talking about, and I made a joke about it, but stable coins. But that tells you, in fact, what Rob is stressing, you can't build it here, but you could build it anywhere else. Because it's open. If you want to build something, you want utility for something, it is utility, utility, utility on these side chains. You are free to build whatever you want and create any opportunity you want and provide incentivization for all the opportunities you want. Anyone can build on it, and you should have that ability to deploy your own service side chain and have your own fun utilities, whatever they may be. I'm not going to belabor it.
I got the words.
Stop.
It came to me. Yes, you're all right. Betrayal, treachery, backstabbing, double cross, disloyalty, duplicity, sellout, infidelity, defection. These are all words that are going to be in this blog post. Subversion. Anybody, like, they won on two things. I talked about this before. They won because the blockchain people and their positions on not trying to force the trans stuff. I truly believe those two issues, because it wasn't a huge win, no matter what Trump says. Like, it was a win. And really, any of those two things could have turned it the other way. And tons of people in our industry voted for the pro-crypto people. Like, not everybody, but there was a huge portion for that. And for me, This being the result of that is utter betrayal to everybody who voted for that party who was in crypto.
Yeah, I think you're being
Nope, that's the
a
right
bit
word.
extreme.
All those
Let me
are
tell you
the
why.
right words.
Let me tell you why. Because that's not the
Oh, my
only
goodness.
thing that came from the Trump administration, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, a lot of things came from the SEC.
We got Trump
Next
coin.
episode, we will talk about the Clarity Act.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good things coming from that administration for crypto. However, I think it was naive to think that they wouldn't be propping up also the non-crypto part of crypto, right?
Sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, all the words you said can be summarized into a politician. Like that's pretty much what
No,
happened,
but like,
right?
why isn't
Betrayal.
Elizabeth Warren like screaming in orgasms right now? This is what she wanted. Like
Again, there was bipartisan support. Like every time you get betrayed.
Did she vote for crypto shit? Like,
I don't
did
know.
she vote for
I don't know
this?
if she did.
Sorry, I can't get off of this. We need to move on. I can't. Fuckers.
Sorry. You're
Cool.
angry.
So let me provide an
Yeah.
update on the marketing side. So as
Sure.
I said last time, everything is waiting for the right market time. And as we just talked about, it's probably going to happen soon now. So we looked into what will happen in terms of activities. So looking in detail, we will have some activity in the community, in Discord, in Telegram. They will organize some quest and basically make sure that people are engaged, and there will be some prize to earn. So all this activity to make sure that new people coming in see that it's alive, and then active or now inactive community member see that we are starting again, and everything is now going up again. So that's really the goal. And then basically they also will create some media content, so some tweets that will be, of course, about Divi, about the side chains and the new direction that we have taken. And then, of course, we will have some influencers on the list. So there will be Twitter, there will be some YouTube videos.
Awesome.
So next episode, I think, or maybe as a standalone, we will receive Taz, who was really leading the collection last time, where a lot of you participated.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we will be talking about how it worked, what we actually can have with the money that we have, and then how we can make that better whenever all of these start. So that's it for the marketing update.
Now, what about maybe we should talk about Xeggex? I can talk about that.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we had high hopes for Xeggex, as we all know, that they had an unfortunate situation with a laptop, and they're pretty much still jacked. And I think that they're throwing in at least the hat for now to some degree, because they have actually now posted on the website, due to the hack in February and other whatever these are recent issues that's probably financially related. I'm just saying that myself, not proving anything. Xeggex is shutting down, and they're filing for insolvency. And so that means there's going to be a lot of auditing going on, most likely. If any of you who have participated in Cryptopia or any time in exchange has a situation like that, there's lots and lots and lots of auditing. And then someday, maybe in the future, there's maybe a distribution. There will be more information and legal contacts that they've stated that they will provide soon. But I'm going to tell you this. Make sure that you've documented everything. Make sure that you have your address from your desktop wallet as you sent. You know what that address is. It's in the history of your sending. Make sure you have that documented. Make sure you have your amounts, the dates and times that you sent it. Make sure you document your receiving address as it received it. Make sure you have as much documented as possible. Screenshots, if you had them, are great, because those are the kinds of things, if and when it comes to that point in time, that the legal parties are involved and you have to fill out a form somewhere. The more clear and the more detailed you are, it's yes work, but the better it will be for you if and when there's a distribution of funds. Anybody who's done this before knows it's a pain. I think it's a pain. I have Divi there. Rob has Divi there. Neegs has crypto Divi there. Everybody has a little bit of something there. So it is a negative, right? I'm going to say I'm frustrated, but I haven't had any resolution yet, and now we know where they're going. So
Yep.
we will, as a community, look forward. We're not going to stay laboring on Xeggex. We know we can only solve what we can work on personally. This is not something we can do except be prepared for it. We are going to be looking at other exchanges. We know we need exchanges, and so we're open. And just as before, if you know of an exchange, let me know. I'm already starting to look at other exchanges, and we'll get some more. We've got Bitrue, so Bitrue is still open. Ascendex is still there, so you guys can always trade in those two exchanges, and then we'll do the work on another exchange. So anyway,
I don't know, like just a note, just some history on this. We used to be like heavily using Cryptopia for Divi. That was, I think, our number one exchange.
Huge. Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it got hacked and fell apart. And that was our only exchange. We scrambled for exchanges. We got on two wonky ones, but way back then we got on Bitrue. Bitrue, I gotta say, has been rock solid this whole time.
Yes, you're right.
I feel comfortable putting my funds there. I've never kept funds there like I did with Xeggex, and I don't know. Like finally, I relented. I kept funds on exchange. It got burned immediately, just like the last time I put funds into a custodial thing. It always happens to me. Like when you guys are doing stuff, ask me if I have funds there. It'll be bad. Like it just happens to me over and over again. Every time I'm like, okay, maybe it won't be so bad this time, and then I get run up the ass like this every single time. So I have always been avoiding centralized custody because it always goes wrong for me, and it goes wrong in big ways for me. So I learned my lesson. I stopped. I'm like, it's been enough time. I'll try again. Got burned again. Like, yep. So I'm not doing it anymore. We're going to solve that problem with Divi.
I'm going to stress this. Bitrue, I've always had good experience with Bitrue. I used to do most of my tutorials. If you guys go back a few years ago, I used to do classes on Bitrue until they went through that phase where they had to sort of reject the US market for a while. So if you can take a 15-minute call with me. I'll walk you through it. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy, but as Rob is stressing right now, don't store your crypto on an exchange. Mm-hmm. We always think well, and we always want to be participating in something that could be beneficial to everyone, including ourselves. And so that's where you kind of, when you're in a centralized entity. I'll leave it with this. Try Bitrue. But most importantly, withdraw your Divi or any crypto you have on Xeggex. The other thing that I'll let you know is some people can. That's why I'm just making sure. So if you have it there, withdraw it, and you can withdraw it, do it. Get it off. The other thing is don't deposit any coins to Xeggex at this moment in time. Obviously there's still trading going on, but if you are going to risk it and do business on Xeggex at this moment in time, before you do anything, make sure you check your addresses, because all the deposit addresses, I think, have changed. And I know of one person who burnt a bunch of their coins by sending to an address that Xeggex doesn't control because of the hack. So I think they lost like $500 worth of crypto. So there you go. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Don't use Xeggex. Just stop, like today.
It's all suspended anyway. What I would expect to happen now, as Voice said, there will probably be an administrator, and then they will look into how they can refund people to the measure of what they have. Now, based on what Xeggex said, right, like they seem to have lost some data from the database, and they weren't able to reconcile. So we don't know if there is money missing. What we know is that 15 million Divi on their wallet are still there.
Still there.
So this didn't move. For the USDT, it's a lot harder to know. I mean, obviously, we're all sad it happened. Unfortunately, with small platforms like that, the risk is much higher. But we have really no choice to aim for those platforms because that's also the ones that have a welcoming KYC policy for our US users.
That is true.
So yeah, as Voice said, we will look into alternatives. This is definitely sad. We had hope all along. I think there will be a closure. It will just take a long time now.
Yeah, Cryptocptopia took years. State
Yeah.
count is up to 4 years so far. So once it gets to courts, once it gets to courts, like there's a whole part before that, it's still a long time.
Long. And
Yeah.
lots of KYC, by the way. So even though we didn't have KYC, that's the other thing.
Now you
If
do.
you don't have KYC and then something happens, you got a KYC anyway. So, I don't know. It's just a pain. How about some good stuff? How about some fun stuff? Let's talk about something that's just an enjoyment to look at. What about DiviRedPanda?
Now that I got angry, let me do this so I can be happy.
Yeah, DiviRedPanda. Come on, DiviRedPanda.
And today I put a note in because somebody was asking about waiting for Divi to get better, and I can't tell you when I see people actually doing stuff for Divi, it absolutely warms my heart. So there's a new mascot now. I think if you've been into Telegram, you've been seeing it. It's getting some support. So there's this DiviRedPanda. There's a Twitter page for it. I think it was originally created by our Captain Nemo, who who's involved again with our community, which is great. But then hats off to WooNomad, who took it and ran.
I think Woo asked him to build it, actually.
Oh, did he? Oh, awesome.
I think so.
So he took it and ran. Now there's tons of posts about it, about Divi, about sidechains, about what we're doing with. He's using AI to put that panda into different positions and different, communicating different imagery. Seriously, I'm now a big fan of WooNomad. I'm a fan of the people who cheer him on. And then I'm also really a fan of people who saw that and also did it. So we've talked about using different tools. AI makes this really fun now. So it's not just image generation. There's now a number of places where you can take images and animate them by prompting what you want it to do. So for example, I think he's using Hast now, HASST. He's doing the Divi monster clips that are happening. Correct. Super cute. He's using AI to make those. And I took one and I put it into what I think it was called ReelMind, ReelMind. And then I just prompted make the action. It was clearly fighting happening. And so I prompted more fighting. I can't remember exactly how it was. And then it just turned it into a little cartoon of the Divi hero beating up the Divi monster. And it took 10 minutes. And I think I bought $5 worth of credits, and the video took 50. And that gave me 10,000 credits or some 5,000 credits. I can't remember. So I could mess it up and try a few times. So it's very cheap. Anyway, just really impressed and really happy that people are doing stuff like that. And all I can say is more of this. Do other things. You could write you can write blog posts, and then there's one AI you can use that will read the blog post and create a podcast of two people discussing your blog post. There's all of these crazy tools out there. Go play with them, and they're fun and they're cheap. I am using, most of I use a platform because I suck at making websites, and there's a platform called Bubble that makes that helps you with website building and putting function into your websites. Now they have an AI front end where you can prompt what you want built, and it does all the stuff that's tedious. It makes the different pages. It puts the tables and the forms, and it puts everything out on there for you. Yeah. And then what I do actually is I use ChatGPT to create a prompt for Bubble so that the prompt is more complete than I would think of myself. And then I read the prompt, make sure it's all doing what I want. And then I put that into Bubble, and then Bubble makes the website for me, and it works great. You can do this with another one called Reflex. So if you want to make websites that do silly things with Divi or for Divi, or helps Divi people create Divi items, pictures, or whatever, you can do all of that relatively simply now. The nice thing about Bubble again is that you don't need to know how to program, but you still do need to figure stuff out. I'm not just saying like you prompt it and it just works. You still need to understand, learn the platform and make it work. Same with the ones like Reflex. You still need to know Python to get to the end of the project. So like all programming, like the AI gets you some part of it there between 20 and 80%, depending on what you're doing, but you still need to know some of it. That part is true. But there's so many AI platforms. I just encourage people to go have fun. It's AI is going to be important in your life. Now's a great time to learn it when there's so many like different things, some good, some bad, and then just use it for Divi. Like make Divi assets, make Divi things. Who knows?
I think what we should do is when we produce this, maybe we'll put a little tag to the Red Panda on Twitter at the bottom. I'll put it in the comments or something. They're both different focused, made by community members, but DiviRedPanda is really focused on multi-post with educational information about what sidechains do. It's a very different project.
He's doing a good job with the actual Twitter part, like not just the AI part.
I was going to say that WooNomad has always been among those who are more active than average. So I'm not surprised, but he did gigantic work getting information from our videos and then putting that into AI to get some text that he could add, and then he made some
he's building
billboard style artwork, and now he's posting a ton of content on Twitter. That's really great.
And it's good content.
Look, I've tried to motivate people some time ago, and I've tried to make some material and it takes a lot of effort to motivate yourself to do that. So I'm really grateful that people like WooNomad and now Hast are doing it. And I think, as you said, right, the AI is now enabling everyone. I think that neither WooNomad or Hast thought that they could be the graphic designer before. And so I think it's very interesting to see that. And look, like this is also why we made all that content on the videos to compare with other solutions, to go in detail about how our solution is better and what opportunities that it opens. That's also because now whoever wants can feed from all those videos and generate whichever content they feel happy with, right? Like Hast came to me and he was like, hey, do you have like his monster collection that was, I'm sure, inspired from the DiviRedPanda, because it came right after. And he asked me if I was liking it. And I was like, who cares if I like it or not? Right. What's important is that you like it, and then other people will like it. Like, let's all do whatever we like, and then Divi is the sum of that, right?
I think that, that's the big thing is this Divi is an open source project, which I stressed before as open participation. It's not you're going to look to me and am I going to build you animated graphics? Who do you look towards? Point the finger at yourself. It's your coin owner. You may not want to get involved, but maybe somebody else you do know wants to get involved, and that's exactly how it happens. And Hast and I think Karst did a little bit of something that was, everybody was trying. But anyway, we'll link to Woo's DiviRedPanda. We'll link to Divi Monstruo or whatever the heck it is. It's mainly in Spanish, but he's doing it more, I think, for that community and crypto in general. We'll link to that one. And if you want to do something, maybe it's not memes, maybe it's building an app, maybe it's something like that. We'll guide you. But even us here, as we volunteer for these videos, we volunteer to speak about what the foundation is doing, what the partner will be doing, all the different things that have to do with news. We just jump in and did it. We didn't ask anybody's permission, and nor did they.
So one more thing I wanted to just talk about on this one subject here. So I'm super happy to see people doing this kind of stuff. And so I'm offering by the end of July, 100,000 Divi we'll have a little contest. Whoever submits the best thing, I'll make a little submission form or something like that so people can do it. And so it could be anything. It doesn't have to be AI generated. It can be. It doesn't have to be graphics. It could be audio. It could be programming. It could be website. It could be 3D printed something. I don't care what it is. Just figure out what you want to learn. Go try to make a Divi something for that, and submit that. So if it's an actual object, submit a picture. If it's a website, submit a link. Otherwise, submit files. But at the end of July, 100,000 Divi to whoever I'll make it up for voting. I'll decide later if it's the voting between the three of us or whether I open it to community voting, which I'll probably do. But because I just thought of this just now. But anyway, 100,000 Divi to whoever comes up with the best new thing in support of Divi. However you do it.
Let's double that.
Now it's 200. All right.
All right. I'll add to it too. It'll be 300.
Oh my God. Nice. Okay. Nice. All right. So 300,000 Divi for whoever comes up with the best Divi thing by the end of July. Okay. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about there.
Sounds great. So I think it's you who will talk again because you will tell us about Permissionless last week and then the next event's coming.
Yes, I went to another event. So I happen to be in New York, upstate New York right now. If anybody's in upstate New York, happy to visit. So there's that. Or meet up somewhere. Went down to New York City for Permissionless. It's a blockchain event that happens all week. I will say it's very dominated by Uniswap. So there's a ton of Uniswap events like throughout each of the days. I'm not super interested in that for what I'm trying to get done. But there were some other side events that were pretty good. Some pitching events that our partner went to. Some other events of market makers, other projects, things like that. It's a smaller event. The side events were pretty much on par with everywhere else I've gone to. So that was pretty good. There's just fewer of them, like not as many as like at the Bitcoin one. There's like 100. I should say the Token 2049. There was like 600 side events. At this one, there was like, I don't know, maybe 50. So I went to a bunch of those. Those were pretty good. There's a lot of optimism, definitely in our industry. I went to one called Xeggex. Xeggex is a platform that, it's another kind of Uniswap thing. They have a new wallet coming out. This is not an ad for them. I wish they would pay us. But I'm mentioning it because they had politicians and lobbyists speaking there, which I listened to. And that's what Niggs mentioned before. There's a Clarity Act coming out, which they alluded to, and they just talked about moving certain parts out of the purview of the SEC and into the purview of the CTFC, which I think I talked about a year ago. And so that's an interesting part that looks like it's coming down the line. But a lot of people are looking at, despite my tirade and anger before, a lot of people in our industry are really looking forward to regulation to help clarify further our industry, and hopefully maybe the Clarity Act isn't a weapon, but we'll see. And so that was, I think, any questions from you guys about that I might have missed about permissionless?
No, I think that's good. And in reality, I don't know if you realized, but in a month from now, that will be about a year that you've started going to events with the partner, right?
Believe me, I'm well aware of that. My next one is might be in Chicago. I'm not sure. Again, anybody living in Chicago later this month, maybe I might be there. That one's not for sure. And then later in August, I think we mentioned I'll be in Japan. So if other Northeast blockchain events show up this summer, I will probably go to them, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's good. And you're spending like 3 months in Asia very soon.
Yeah.
Events that are very close to each other.
Yeah.
Like a month apart, 3 in a row.
So yeah, Korea and Singapore. So there's one I think it's called WebEx, or is that the Japan one? Now I'm confused. Anyway, there's one in Korea and there's one in Singapore. They're back to back. So I'll be over in that area for 2 weeks. That'll be my first time doing that. There's a DevCon, which I think is in Argentina this year. So I'm actually looking forward to that one. I've been wanting to go to Argentina. And I don't remember where the other ones are. I think there's one in England. I don't remember the other ones, but anyway.
Yeah,
that's where-
DEF CON
that's
is
where we're
in
going.
November, so that
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
after the Asian trip.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
That's it.
Cool.
All right, guys.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, so yeah, next episode, we will try to have Taz. She said that she will try to make herself available, but we will talk about what can we get more from the marketing agency. I think it's coming soon. I think
so.
the whole market is really waking up.
Yep, definitely.
All
All
right.
right, guys. Thanks
Bye,
for the fun.
everyone.
All right.
Cool.
Bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.